Hey guys, it's Astroff here, and in today's video we're going to be looking at the Meteorb Part 3, or checkpoint level 30. And I guess a quick refresher, this is where we were in the previous video. The main upgrades were the Leaf Staff and the Stealth Armor. So now we're going to be looking at the checkpoint at level 30, and you'll notice some pretty significant changes depending on where you're at in the build, and where you're at in terms of runes and items and pickups. So we're going to start with the gear here. I still have the Leaf Staff. If you're finding that you need the damage, this is certainly still very kick-ass at this point. But you can also end up swapping that out for an Ancient's Pledge Shield. The first quest in Act 5, which requires you to kill Shenk, will get you, through the first zone, and then you could save the Barbarians in the next zone, and you'll be able to get these as a quest reward. You'll be able to get the socket hole punch reward. I wouldn't recommend using the hole punch reward so that you could throw these in a shield. So I'd probably spend some time shopping for a large shield if you find yourself being pretty flimsy or dying a lot to elemental damage. But again, if you have this, you're going to be so much stronger at this point in terms of defense. Again, you're still using the stealth, and then I just threw in a 2 fireball orb here. There's no FCR on it. It's not better than Leaf in terms of damage, but the damage is still pretty adequate. So we can look at the damage real quick just to compare. Right now we're looking at about 650, right? Like, let's say closer to in between. And when we switch over to Leaf, it's at 770, right? So it's definitely better, right? But this is safer. So if you end up, and I would recommend getting the shield anyway. So when you get a better weapon, such as a spirit, which we're going to talk about soon, but this is probably a safer setup. And again, the FCR rings, this belt here, so you get more mana pots and more health pots in your on your bar, and then just new gloves with some resist on it. The poison link's still there, not necessary really at this point in the game, but it's still not terrible by any means. And some faster hit recovery on a couple pieces of gear here, and some light reses, right? So you're starting to stack res wherever you could find it. And then lastly, we're going to end up on lore. You want any 2 open socket helmet that you're able to equip. This is really good. I almost am hesitant to throw it on at this point. So you probably won't actually have this because a soul is kind of hard to come by. And then also there's the consideration of whether or not you want to make an insight for your mercenary. You'll notice that I don't have the mercenary added here. I don't think it's necessary yet. I think the mana potions are extremely good at this point in the game. I don't think any of your spells, like this is still only costing 13 at this level. I think your spells aren't gonna, except for teleport of course, but you're not really gonna go through your mana pool that quickly. So you can hold off on this or not worry about it if you don't have it. But this is gonna be a good upgrade to your damage. And now looking at the build here, at level 30, we're going to have all these extra quests, so more life, more attributes, and then these 2 extra skill points. And starting with the lightning tree, nothing has changed. We really only wanted the static and the teleport. Going to the fire tree, there have been more points allocated here, which I think is clear. And then also 1 point into fire mastery. Fire will carry you most definitely to the end of the game, especially in normal difficulty. It's extremely powerful. This is a very good area of effect spell. So you can actually start allocating like the Fallen Angel skill points, or even like every other time you level up, start putting them in the cold tree and start working your way towards Frozen Orb, right? Because at a certain point, this damage will still be adequate on the fireball, and we're going to want to have a dual element set up so that immunes aren't an issue. So yeah, that's essentially the situation. You could choose between the 2. In terms of weapons, you could choose to hold off on the helmet if you found a soul and want to make an insight, or you haven't found a soul and then you just can't have it, of course. But yeah, so basically we're throwing more points into Fireball. The only other thing we're going to throw points into is Fire Mastery at level 30, and then the rest you start just putting one hard point into these, and you're starting to work your way over to Frozen Orb. So if you have any questions, comments, or advice, please feel free to ask down below, and I look forward to seeing you guys in the next video.